Hey guys, King of Charmanders here, to be your judge, your jury, and your analyst. And today I bring to you the most powerful slash best, statistically best team for Open Great League. And this would be theoretically the best team to run for Go Battle Weekend, but I'm kind of iffy about it just because with so many Charmers roaming around, having two things that are weak to Charmers kind of makes me scratch my head. Not to say I haven't won against a team with this double Charm team, but it was really sweaty. And I really had to pry my head of how the hell am I going to win this one. So, as you see here, this team is going to be, well, for the Shotcats, it's going to be Medicham XL, Mandibuzz, and Registeel. Medicham is running Ice Punch and Psychic. You can run Power Up Punch if you want to, but Medicham is really good for the fact that it's able to do a lot of coverage here. I'll show you a battle here where I lose the lead, but Medicham is able to absolutely threaten Bastiodon, Steel types of course. Scrafty, the fake fighters, and Scrafty, well, actually the fake fighters as in like Vigoroth or Vigoroth or Obstagoon, and then fighters like Scrafty. Well, fighters that are weak to fighters like Scrafty. So, Medicham's a beast. It has been part of the top teams for a long time. You probably know the Medicham Bastiodon core, and it's literally been the most powerful team for like a bazillion years until Walrein and Trevenant entered the meta. So, this is the strongest team. Hopefully, it does give you an idea, but again, I'm kind of iffy about running it, but statistically, it is the strongest team at a score of 575, which is pretty nuts. To put it in perspective, the strongest team I put in ppoke.com was 583. Anything with a plus 500 team rank is guaranteed to get you dubs. Anything closer to 600 is statistically pretty dang baller. So this team is very powerful and will get you them W's. But before we get started, this is my therapist mental health tip of the day as usual. And as I always say, you can skip this. Literally, all you have to do to skip this is go onto the time, put your mouse on the timeline, and everything is broken up to chapters. So you could strip straight to the battles if you want to. However, for those of you that do want free therapy, because in California, therapy is ridiculously expensive, as I keep reminding you, up to words of $250 to $400, probably even more than $400 if we want specialized treatment. Therapy is expensive, so these little tips are really valuable, and some of y'all really like them, and the fact that I can put my day job into my content, I really like it, and we don't talk enough about mental health, and we don't have enough mental health professionals in the world. To put in perspective, the amount of people that can literally call themselves mental health professionals and ethically do therapy is less than 1% of the world. I just say 99% for the hell of it, but if you look at the actual statistical entire universe, it's actually less than 1%, which is not a lot. Plus, in order to get to this profession, you do need a master's degree. You do need 3,000 hours overall, depending on your state. So you're using your state commands, whichever like your requirements are, but generally it's like 3,000 or more. And you have to go through a practicum site. So while you're in school, you have to do a practicum, and then you have to do, after that, you have to do therapy, and then accumulate 3,000 hours, and then you get licensed. Either way, no matter where you go, and once you start doing therapy, even in practicum, you practically are practicing. Just because of the fact that this is anybody that you take in or intake in is something your supervisor or a licensed person can take in. So, welcome to hell. That's basically what I say, because mental health is incredibly difficult. And a lot of mental health can revolve around stress. So this is stress management. A lot of y'all playing Go Battle League weekends, so I want to make sure I do stress management again. Stress management is great. Here's a worksheet for y'all. This is going to be in the description so you can actually use it. And it's just a few tips about stress management. So a few things. For example, keep in mind that stress isn't a bad thing. It's okay to have a little bit of stress. You're going to stress about pretty much everything in this world. If you're not very stressed out in various situations, like I don't give a damn about Go Battle League. I don't care about making Legend this season. If I keep battling, I should make it. But I definitely pace myself because I don't care about being the first one. I'm not going to sit in a queue for 90 minutes for a set, okay? I'm never going to do that in my life. I was there once before, 3 times actually. And I'm never doing it ever again because I want to get my battles done. I have other things to do. There's more to life than Go Battle League. Prioritize, for example, prioritizing your responsibilities and focusing on the basics. Focus on your basics, develop your basics, for example, for other things in my life, and prioritize your responsibilities. Don't put all your eggs in the basket. When people are overwhelmed in one aspect of your life, often deal with stress when that area is threatened. For example, it's Legend, it's Go Battle League. Go Battle League isn't who you are. Set aside, like this, just because if you make Legend multiple times, most people won't care. You can beat Legends. And there's no real difference with leaderboard players. I beat leaderboard players all the time. Those top leaderboards you see on the leaderboard, I've beaten some of them at one point, and a lot of them are actually some of my friends. So, yes, I know what it's... I'm pretty dang good at said game. So, yeah. But that's what it is. Make sure you pace yourself for Go Battle Weekend, and definitely take a look at this worksheet, because if you're not good at managing stress, this is very valuable for you. And without further ado, this is the best team for Go Battle League Weekend and just Open Great League in general. And without further ado, let's get started with the battles. Alright, so here are the battles. Again, this team is really weird because, yeah, your lead and not really your safe switch. Reggie steals your safe switch from what I see here. We get a Melmetal into Medicham. And all we're going to do is we're actually going to Psychic here. I can't switch into... Well, I can switch into Mandibuzz, but I want to break a shield here before I swap. Mandibuzz is thick enough to where it can possibly just eat a Brave Bird, or you could just take these Flame Charges to death. As you see here, they let one Psychic through. So one Psychic goes through. I'm not going to shield anything here because Mandibuzz can eat a Brave Bird, and it can even... Yeah, it can eat Brave Bird and even like 2 Flame Charges just because it's so freaking bulky. The Dark Scarecrow Bird Flintstones thingy, yeah, it literally looks like a bird from the Flintstones. That's what Mandibuzz looks like. It's not, yeah, I don't know what else to compare it with. As you see here, they're going to go for the Brave Bird, and then you can comfortably farm down here. There's a lot of play with Mandibuzz versus Talonflame. It's just literally because Mandibuzz is bulkier, you can make things happen. But generally what you want to do is you want chip damage. Medicham is bulky enough to where it can absorb chip damage, especially if you lose the lead. And Medicham XL is really freaking bulky. It has a really huge butt, and it has really big yoga pants. Actually, no. Yoga pants are tight. Those, you know, it's kind of like flared out. Yeah, it's like it's wearing pajamas. All I'm going to do is dump all my foul play energy here. You could probably predict what's already going to happen. I'm going to throw in Medicham into this Melmetal, and then Ready Steel is just going to close out. That's literally what it is. You can Rock Slide me here. The thing about Medicham versus Melmetal is that Melmetal gets completely walled if Melmetal is carrying Superpower and Rock Slide. Other than that, Melmetal generally carries Thunderbolt and Flash Cannon, although I don't know why you'd want Flash Cannon. And as you see, my opponent just quits out because Copper Grigus against a full Registeel is pretty much game. So they just quit out because it's pretty much impossible. That's just what it is. And then it is Go Battle League Weekend. It is Go Battle Weekend, so you're trying to save your time. As you see, we won the lead here. We got Walrein into our Medicham, and they swapped into Swampert. You're going to see a lot of Swampert. Swampert is really good in Open Great League. It's been since the first time it came out. Fun fact, for those of y'all that didn't know, Hydro Cannon was actually nerfed at one point. And it's still overpowered just because Mudshot plus Hydro Cannon energy equals death. That's how good Swampert is. And the water ground typing makes Swampert such a beast because the only real threat you have to worry about is grass types. Outside of that, Swampert is one of the best closers in the entire freaking game. As you see here, we're just going to try to win switch. You want to key switch as much as you can. That, or I just want to bring the Swampert to the zeros. We bring it to the zeros, we win switch. We just want to keep that Swampert onto we want Medicham onto Walrein. You can also have Registeel on the Walrein. Registeel has a great match against Walrein unless you're in the zeros. So it doesn't really matter either or. However, I'm going to double commit shield here because, like I mentioned before, we just want to keep Medicham onto Walrein. For this Medicham, you're running Ice Punch and Psychic, so you're not using Power Up Punch, which kind of makes it a little limited. As you see here, they swapped. I tried to swap in and see if I could just bait out whatever's in the back, because this is pretty much game. Like I mentioned, Walrein still loses to Registeel. So all I'm going to do here is we got DD on a Medicham. This isn't a terrible matchup for you because the only two things that are going to actually hit you for neutral damage are going to be Psycho Boost as well as Thunderbolt. Everything else is resisted. So with that being said, all I'm going to do is straight Ice Punch here. I want to do as much chip damage as humanly possible against this Deoxys defense. We still have Mandibuzz for a sack, and I still have Registeel in the back against the Walrein. Like I mentioned, Registeel is still really freaking good against a whole Walrein, just because with two full Zap Cannons, you can just zap it to death. You can just Thunderclap and Flash the unholy crap out of its soul, and it does a lot of damage. As you see here, we're just going to go straight for the Zap Cannon. This is going to be an Earthquake, but that's perfectly fine. You can live 2 Earthquakes, especially since it's in a shadow. You don't have to worry about it too much. And we're going to fire the Zap Cannon right here. We're going to fire this, and then this should go through. I don't know if my opponent's going to elect to, like, swap out or something of that sort. And they elect to eat the Zap Cannon, which my brain is like, why? DD comes back in, and I'm like, why wouldn't you shield that? Because here's the thing, it would have been more difficult for me because I would have to sack in that scenario. But apparently, when you choose violent, you choose violence or you choose death. And my opponent in that point just chose death. We get Scrafty into our Medicham. Now, this is actually a misplay on my part. What you want to do here against the Nidoqueen, you actually want to break a shield first. The reason being is because Nidoqueen in the 2 shield beats Mandibuzz. Yep, that's what it is. I misplayed terribly here because, yes, Nidoqueen does beat Mandibuzz in a 2 shield, especially if the Nidoqueen's a shadow. Just because those poison fang debuffs, they start adding up. And that's why Nidoqueen is such a beast in Open Greatly, because you can set up those debuff plays, and then you can absolutely just fast move the unholy crap out of your opponent to death. In this instance, we're just going to straight foul play. I'm going to try to take back Switch, however, I already know I'm going to lose the lead here. And I could double shield here, and I can keep Switch if my opponent doesn't elect to use their last shield, or I could take it to the zeros. In this instance, my best bet is probably just to try to take it to the zeros or just take out this Nidoqueen. So that's why I'm using this play right here. We take it to the zeros. I try to Ice Punch in our opponent sends in a Skarmory, which actually isn't bad. The reason I'm giving up Swap here is because I don't want any farm on my Medicham. I don't want my poor Mandibuzz to get farmed by that Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen will win CMP against Medicham as well as Registeel, so you don't really want that thing revved up on energy because you're gonna get Earth Power to death. And as you see here with Ice Punch, you get a decent matchup against Skarmory. We're gonna get Sky Attack. This will KO my Medicham, but what we can do here is we can send in Registeel, and then Registeel can go ahead and farm the unholy crap out of this Skarmory. You can eat it Brave. We could eat a Sky Attack. We could eat a Brave Bird even. But having that energy advantage on Registeel is incredibly important because I should be able to get enough energy to be able to just blast that Nidoqueen to death with a Focus Blast, or we have enough nuke power for their back row. So we got 2 nuke move ability here. We have the Nidoqueen. I get a little more energy here, but I don't want to get CMP'd, so I'm going to fire this Focus Blast. The good thing is Nidoqueen's low enough to where this Focus Blast should actually kill. And then after that, we get lined up against your opponent. We're going to get lined up against the back row, which is the Scrafty. This is still really dangerous, though, because a Scrafty is chunking. However, a Focus Blast will yeet a freaking... Yeah, even though Registeel doesn't get stabbed, it will yeet this Scrafty to oblivion. And then all I have to do is really just... I'm going to send in Mandibuzz to catch a move, though. I don't want 2 Power Punches to go through. That's what I'm basically saying. So as you see here, I'm going to go and send it in, and I'm going to eat this next Power Punch, which is fine. And then I should be able to just lock down for the dub. This is a safer play. I could leave in Registeel. However, Registeel would rev up, and I want to put more pressure on my opponent anyways. And the good thing is fun fact, I don't know if this still works, but 1-turn fast moves take priority over charge moves. So if they had a 3rd Power-Up Punch, and I have it at 1 HP, I can lock on down for the W and I'll win automatically. We got Legend on Legend actions. I got the Pancake versus the stupid Bunny. And we're just going to switch in Registeel into Azumarill. Unless this Azumarill is carrying Hydro Pump, you're not in necessarily a lot of danger. As you see here, we're going to be able to get the first Zap Cannon off anyways. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to eat all the moves. Even if it's Hydro Pump, because it's debuffed, I should still be able to eat it. If it's Ice Beam Play Rough, it's a terrible matchup for your opponent. Ice Beam, most Azus are carrying Ice Beam Play Rough. Not a lot of them are carrying Hydro Pump nowadays just because they want that coverage. And especially, but Hydro Cannon does allow you to beat Bastion and give you a chance against things like Registeel. I'm going to undercharge here. I want to undercharge to see if I can get some extra energy through. And as you see here, a little bit, that actually goes a long way because now I should be able to fully farm down. I can eat another move, but energy is more important. I'm going to save the energy on Registeel though, and I'm just going to switch into Medicham. Against G-Fist, you just want to go straight Ice Punch. Power-Up Punch, you can use Power-Up Punch if you want to. I would argue that Power-Up Punch has a lot of play against a lot of scenarios, especially like things against G-Fist, or if it's a Registeel, and of course, your favorite Pokemon in the entire freaking universe. The thing you love so much and absolutely adore, that lovely, cuddly Bastiodon. Why do I feel like I want to eat salt after that? I don't know. But you know what? All we're going to do is we see Trevenant. And this is why you want Ice Punch. Ice Punch allows you to do super effective damage against things like Nidoqueen. You actually beat Altaria to 2-shield straight Ice Punch. And it forces your opponent to have pressure just because of Trevenants, as Ice Punch does super effective damage. The good thing is we can let Medicham go in this instance. And all you have to do is send in Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz completely walls Trev, so I don't have to shield anything here. And then we literally have we have Azu in the back that's practically almost dead. So this is game. Shadow Ball goes through, and that does a lot of damage. I could commit Boat Shield at this point. I'm just gathering a bunch of extra energy here just because I don't want my opponent to catch a foul play. Even though we pretty much have this dub in the bag, you don't want to misplay like I did like literally last battle and screw over your win condition. Because I've done that. I've found my lose condition more time than I would like to admit. When you Hyper Beam a lot, things go wrong. And as you see, things didn't go wrong here. All I'm going to do is just switch in the Zap Cannon right away, combo it, and take out this stupid bunny. We already know that Zap Cannon does this much damage, so I'm just going to undercharge the only crap out of it, and that will KO. And now I have a battle where I lose the lead. So if you lose the lead, there's one of two options here. Usually what you want to do is try to break the shield against the opposing lead. As you see here, you want to try to break at least one shield or do some chip damage. Just because this is going to be really, really rough. If it's a Nidoqueen, you can eat the first Poison Fang. Try to have Medicham absorb as much damage as possible, and then you want to break a shield, switch in, and hopefully you're in the 2-to-1 shield scenario. That's the best play you can make, especially since this team is weak to Charmers. If you do get a Charmer, you need to be really fancy and try to line up the Charmers against Registeel. I've won against one Charmer team, but that only because by some grace of God, I was able to somehow break both of their shields, or they were really shield trigger happy, and then Registeel swept both Charmers in the back. That's literally the only way you can beat Charmers. Especially with Go Battle Weekend, I'm really unsure of how this team made it, but it did. This is statistically the strongest team, and it can do really well, especially with all the Bastion leads and with the play that Medicham XL has. As you see here, we got Manabuzz on a Nidoqueen. They elect not to switch out of their Nidoqueen, which is actually the second best scenario here. If you wipe out the Nidoqueen or whatever Medicham is used to, hopefully Medicham can go to town. Mandibuzz, as you see here, is able to take out the Shadow Nidoqueen, and we get Umbreon into our Registeel. They send in a Medicham, so this is actually really sweaty. I can already tell here that I'm gonna have to likely aerial ace down this Medicham, and that's even worse considering the fact that they do have Power Up Punch. A better case scenario is if they have Ice Punch Psychic, because in this instance they're not going to rev up with Power Up Punch. You're gonna have to hit 2 Zap Cannons, which should be fine here because you're gonna essentially keep Medicham in neutral range just because they're gonna Power Up Punch you to oblivion. As you see here, I'm gonna fire the Zap Cannon, and then the problem is that Umbreon is going to come in and end my life. I have a shield, however, this is still really rough. I'm hoping to be able to, I have to get to a Focus Blast. I should be able to get to one. Thankfully, my Registeel is a high enough rank to where we'll be able to get to it, but I have to bank that I have enough to take out this Umbreon. I'm not going to shield anything. I'm going to try to get as many Snarls as I can through. I shield the first one expecting a Last Resort, and it's actually a foul play. Because they foul play me, I'm thinking, wow, maybe they don't actually have Last Resort. So as you see, they foul play here. But I might be able to live 2, because Mandibuzz is so bulky, you might be able to live 2 foul Last Resorts at this range. As you see here, double aerial ace should kill. Like I mentioned, because we had that shield, I think we should be able to live 2 Last Resorts, even if they went straight Last Resort, so we wouldn't just been fine here. So even in this much of the red, Last Resort wouldn't kill just because Mandibuzz is so bulky, and that's game. So yeah, we got a little lucky here that it didn't have Last Resort, but even if it did, Mandibuzz is so bulky, we would have been able to finish off Umbreon, and that's game. I hope y'all enjoyed the battles. And that's game. I hope y'all enjoyed the battles. I know I won the lead a lot, and it was kind of like, you know, just alignment and like kind of rock, paper, scissors, but I did give you a bunch of scenarios here, especially like giving up Switch. You kind of don't want to do it, even if you're going to get a sack, but you have to determine whether or not you want to get farmed or you don't want your opponent to get energy. When you switch, there's a lot of things to, like when I switch early, recognizing that the one you switch out of is going to win CMP or your team's going to lose against CMP, and you don't want to get farmed is definitely incredibly valuable. Energy can translate to dubs, so make sure y'all be careful with letting people get energy on you and energy management in general. But yes, hopefully this did give you a good look on battles and just how to run management, especially with this new mechanic where everything's kind of like going through. I don't know how I still get denied. I know cycle resets out there. It's been happening for years. It's nothing new. But then if a 2-turn move is a 2-turn move going like slapping against each other, unless you're hitting CMP, it shouldn't go through. And denial still exists. It just randomly happens below a 2, like 2-turn moves and below, it just happens during the 2. So I don't even know. You know, Go Battle gets broken. Don't stress about it. Just battle and just vibe and get your Stardust. Do it for the dust. This is the most valuable time to do it because it's 5 times Stardust. So do it for the dust. Without further ado, I hope y'all are doing great on your battles. Please like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. I really do appreciate y'all that do it. Y'all are goated. And again, I'm streaming consistently on Twitch, so my schedule, I'm going to try to make it a lot more consistent, but if I do get, well, I'm pretty much set on getting this new school therapist gig for the school district. So this being a city therapist is going to be pretty dang good. It feels really damn good to be a city employee because government jobs are really hard to get. But without further ado, I hope y'all are doing great, having a great Go Battle League weekend. Go luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see y'all on the next video.